Before I start, what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with anything medical. In fact, my suggestion is that you always seek professional medical advice. Never listen to what I'm saying. Do not listen to it. Don't listen to it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hello, you gorgeous folks and folkettes. How are you doing? Today I'm going to talk about various things. I'm going to talk about this path that we have set for ourselves and why we put obstacles in that path. And I'm also going to talk about this. What on earth is that? And I'm going to talk about that. What on earth is that? I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So before we start, I want to let everyone know that this Thursday, that's Thursday the 23rd, at 3 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Spanish time, mine, and that would be maybe 10 a.m. Eastern time, we are going to have a group natter shooting the breeze on Zoom, and then that chat will then be put into the channel the following week. Everybody's welcome to come and join. If you want to join us, then what you have to do is join the Telegram group. The details are in this video information. Join the Telegram group and then just be aware I will put the invitation into the Telegram group. But if you join the Telegram group, you've got to be a nice person. And so that should be fun, shouldn't it? Now, let's move on to this path that we're on. I was talking to the emissaries the other day and I asked them how they were doing. And they said, we're here busy this time, not in deck chairs, busy illuminating the way. That's what they said that they were doing. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, our job is to illuminate the path. And I said, so why are you illuminating the path? And they said, so that people can see the obstacles. This is what the revelation, this is what the great revelation is about, is that we've been walking along a path in the dark, and we've been bumping into things with no idea what they were. And now we're in the Great Awakening, and we're in the Great Revelation. And the revelation is just a light being turned on. And so we are able to see what's in the path and go, oh, I'll avoid that. Oh, I'll walk around that, and I'll jump over that one. And they showed me this path filled with, like, it looked like a Roman road, but it was filled with rocks and boulders and obstacles. And I said, who puts the rocks and the boulders on the path? And they laughed and they said, you do. Not just me personally, all of us. We all put our obstacles on the path. And that's part of us writing our plan, isn't it? We write our plan and we decide what obstacles we want to put on the path. I'll come back to that in a moment. But the emissaries also said, but also the baddies put obstacles on the path. An example of that, well, I mean, there are just so many. I mean, we could go on for hours, couldn't we? Talking about the obstacles that the baddies are putting on our path. The main one is fear, you know, that we get stuck in fear. But they said to me, it's like, what happens when you see the obstacle for what it is? And they said, think about something like one of those false little thingies that we wave, you know, the flag. I just don't want to put those two words together because it gets flagged up. Before, when that happened, like 9/11, when that happened, the world went, oh my God, this is a horrible world filled with horrible people. How could people do that? This is horrific. And we all had a super downer, and we all got behind the government saying, yes, well, we're going to stop this by taking away all of your rights and stuff like that. But now that we know, what happens is that, and now that we know for everything that happens, every one of those flags that tends to be a false one, we could spot them straight away. They never change. They're exactly the same, which is something happens, it's everywhere, it's viral. Outrage, and people calling to take away other people's rights or put them in prison or whatever. Once we know that, what happens is that our reaction to those events change. And instead of saying, oh my God, what a horrible world filled with horrible people, we say, oh my God, what a horrible world filled with those horrible people, the specific ones that do it. You see, we, and I'm talking about the sold up people, the people who were sold up, we would never do anything like that. And that's why it used to upset us so much, because we couldn't conceive of human beings doing that. But now that we know that the bad bastards, the dirty, stinking, manky, lowlife, horrible bastards, they're very capable of doing it. But they are not representative of us. They do not reflect us. If anything, it's a negative reflection. And so we feel better about us and worse about them. The obstacle's still there. We just deal with it in a different way. Then the emissary said, there are the obstacles of the divine plan. The divine plan puts obstacles there too. Things that it wants us to learn as a collective. Okay? So there's a lot of obstacles going on in that path, and we have to navigate our way through. And then I asked this question, and I got such a funny answer. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh, okay? And I said, do we get help to know what obstacles we have to put in our path? Do we get assistance? And I said, oh, yes. When we are formulating our plan, and I've been there lots of times with people in hypnosis, I've been there myself, there's this plan that we write out, and they said that we get help from our higher self, okay? And sometimes the higher self is one being, sometimes it's multiple beings, it just depends. But we get help. And our higher self says, I think this time, you should be focused on this or whatever. They said then we also get help from our soul group. And again, I've spent time there helping people to meet the soul group. It's very beautiful. And they know us very well. And they suggest what we write into our plan, the obstacles that we write in. Notice that the focus is on writing in obstacles. The nice bits are just breaks in between the obstacles. The nice bits is just where we go, oh, I can have a bit of a nice time now. But the obstacles are what's important. That's what the learning is about. That's where we learn. And then they said this, and this is what I thought was funny. And they said, and then we've got the advisors. Now, this caught me off guard because I've done a lot of work, in between lives, the Bardo state and stuff like that. And I haven't come across the advisors, but because I wasn't aware of them. Now I'm going to go and seek them out. When I'm with my clients, we're going to go and seek out the advisors. They said there are advisors, and the advisor's job is to let us know the obstacles. These were their words, and I know it comes through badly sometimes. It's probably not what they're meant to say. They said they let us know the obstacles that are fashionable at the moment. That's what they said. The obstacles that everybody's choosing, that are kind of, at the moment, de rigueur. And I said, what do you mean, obstacles that are fashionable? And they said yes, because in certain timelines, there are themes that we suggest that everybody experiences. Themes that it's kind of like the collective is ready to learn. Okay? So it's, you know what happens? I remember when my ex-wife chose the name for my son, Daniel. And at the time she said, oh, I love this name. This name's really lovely. Let's give our son this name. And then in his school, there were 25 Daniels. And this happens a lot. Like there's a fashionable name and everybody chooses it. And it's like the 100th monkey event where everybody decides that that's the name that they want. It could be because somebody is very popular in the films or in Hollywood or a star or whatever. And that's what they were saying, that there is this kind of collective agreement that these are the obstacles that we should experience in this timeline. The timeline is kind of set to be ideal for those obstacles. And I said to them, so what are the fashionable obstacles in this timeline? And they said, loss and betrayal. And instantly, you know what I thought of? I thought of the story of Jesus, because that's loss and betrayal, isn't it? The loss of everything, the betrayal of the people that he thought loved him. And so that is what the majority of us have chosen to experience at some point. Have you experienced loss? Have you experienced betrayal? My guess is You probably have. And that's because that's what this timeline is about, a main theme. Yeah. In fact, as they've said many times, the main theme of this timeline is to lose God, to forget who we are, to lose ourselves, and then to find ourselves. That's the journey. Without to within. And so there we have it. That's, have you chosen some fashionable obstacles, or did you go off? Were you a rebel and chose to have something completely different? Let me know in the comments. And now I'm going to tell you about this, and I'm going to tell you about this and something else as well. Before I start, what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with anything medical. In fact, my suggestion is that you always seek professional medical advice. Never listen to what I'm saying. Do not listen to it. Don't listen to it. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I've got this. This is called an organometer. Organometer, not an ergonometer, an organometer. And this was what I made after I had the session with Phil. If you remember, Phil was talking about this. And so it's, cheap as chips. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, just a bit of wire wool and some cotton. And then you make a few layers and you pop it inside a tin that's magnetic, and that's it. Okay. So this, as Phil was saying, is designed to, you hold it, you have it next to you. When I'm working now on the PC, I've just got it sitting there pointing to me at a nice distance, constantly. And I have it on the night time on the side of my bed pointing at me. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is what happened to me the other day. I went for a run. I run twice a week. I went for a run, and when I came back, I thought, my hip feels a bit weird. Feels a bit weird. And so what I got is I've got this gun called a Remfo, and it's a vibratory gun. It's a massage gun. And so I just massaged the area. Big mistake. Big mistake. Suddenly, it was the most painful thing I've ever had. Worst pain known to mankind on my leg. So bad was it that I was up here and I was trying to do some work. I had so much pain that I felt I was going to be sick. You know, when you've got so much pain, you're going to be sick. It was really weird. And I couldn't bend the leg. I couldn't stand on my leg. I couldn't go up and down the stairs like a normal person. I had to go up like a child. I was really concerned, and I thought, I don't know, has my hip come out of place? Have I done something bad? Very painful. And I was worried. I was worried. However, nevertheless, what I did was, as I always do, I went to my medicine cupboard. Because I'm a Virgo. So Virgo's medicine cupboards are enormous. Mine is enormous, and it's growing day by day. But what I've got in my medicine cupboard is this, and this is what I use for any kind of external discomfort. Is I've got marijuana oil, okay, very strong. And what I do is I've mixed it with DMSO. Mixed it with DMSO. DMSO is a carrier. I mean, it's great for dealing with discomfort and things like that, but it's also a carrier. So whatever you mix it with, it carries it through the body. And a little bit of colloidal silver. And remember, this has got nothing to do with medicine or health or anything like that. It's just a anecdotal story that means nothing. Okay, so I mixed it up and I put it on the area. And at the same time, and then I sat down on the couch and I got my organometer and I stuck it there. And I sat and I sat and I sat. I couldn't move anyway. I was in so much pain. As soon as I put on the liquid, the DMSO mixed with that stuff, as soon as I did that, I noticed an instant ease. Instantly. I was really, really surprised because I've never used it myself. I've given it to lots of people who have pains, like arthritic pains, and they always say, oh, it really relieves it. But I've never used it. I've never had that. And I put it on and the relief was instant. And then I used that. And I sat maybe for an hour with that, like that. And I felt so much better. And I did it repeatedly over the space of 48 hours. And in 48 hours, I was back to normal. Now, given that I've had issues before, where I've hurt myself, and I'm aware that it takes a while for it to heal. It takes, sometimes weeks. This was instant. Does it mean that and my DMSO did the job? I don't know. But bloody hell, it seems to be the case. So they are very easy to make. Phil, if you just go into YouTube and put making an organometer, Phil's page will come up, and there are other people doing the same thing. If that doesn't work for you because it's in the back or something like that, you can also find out how to make one of these in a blanket. You make a little blanket, and then you can just lie the blanket over the area as well. And DMSO is available on Amazon, I think. Just make sure you get it in a glass bottle because it leaches everything out of everything. And making the oil, well, you would need to look into that. You need the plant, and then you need to get it broken down and take the essential oil out of it. But you might be able to buy it as well. And then the last thing is this. What is this? This is a Rife machine. It's a little one. I've seen photos of really big ones. So this Rife machine comes with lots and lots of different frequencies, and frequencies for everything, really. And what you do is you can listen to it. I don't, because it was a bit loud for me. You can turn it down. But I just have it next to me, and I have it overnight. And I choose frequency 110, which is for lucid dreaming, and I choose another one, 304, I think, which is for sound sleep. Since I use that, I do not get out of bed for a wee, like 5 times like I used to. I sleep pretty well. I might get it once, and my dreams are wild. But really, it's for whatever you want to deal with. And all you do is just have it plugged in. It plugs into the like a USB cable, and you just have it there next to you, and it's emitting very beautiful things. So I'll put the link in the video of this. Okay, it's cheap as chips. Very reasonable, I think, for what it is. This, cheap as chips. DMSO, not expensive. I think that a lot of the things that we can do to help ourselves are not particularly expensive. In fact, for me, the red flag is when people want to charge a lot of money for something. And there are plenty of people who want to charge a lot of money. I think that a lot of the things that really, really help us are under 100. Yeah, when somebody's asking for thousands for something that's going to help you, then I would question that. I think there might be an easier way, and there might be a damn sight cheaper way. However, it's whatever works for you. So in the comments, tell me if anybody has made one of these. I know one person has, Sally. I know she has, and she's using it. But remember that these kind of things are what you call subtle energy. Okay? The subtle energy. That means that you don't always, like I did, get a wowzer. Sometimes you've got to persist with it, okay? And lots of times people try it and they go, well, it didn't work. My auntie, I give her the stuff for her hands. She used it once and she said it just didn't work. I thought, oh, you've got to really use it a bit more than just once. So give it time. But, it's subtle. And so you will see improvements, but you've got to stick at it. And I read a beautiful thing I'll leave you with. Somebody said, everybody's searching for the magic bullet. True. They said, but not everybody's prepared to believe in magic, which is also true. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.